Yo, I am so disappointed in this Hawks team, man. The way they ended this game, man. We gonna get into it.
Yeah, that was tough.
Real tough, man. Ace, drop the intro, bro. The King is back. He got something to say. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Go to Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm here with a guest today, Larry, who's been on the show before. Let the people know where they can find you at, Larry.
You can find me on Twitter at LarryH718. Catch me on hoopshabit.com.
Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Yeah,
How you
thanks for
feeling about
having
talk?
me.
Of course, brother. Your basketball knowledge is top of the line, so we got to have you on the show. How'd you feel about this Hawks game?
I was excited when the fourth quarter started, and I was disappointed and upset by the time it ended.
Yeah. I was the same way, man. This game, the whole game, it was kind of up and down for the Hawks. They would have spurts where you'd be like, "Oh, this Hawks team is playing good," and then they have spurts, and it's like, "Yo, what are they doing?" Like the last 2 or 3 possessions of the game, it was just like, "Yo, you fought so hard to get within this range of being able to win this game, and then you just forget how to play basketball." Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I was upset, and I was surprised that they were even that close for most of the game with Trey shooting poorly. I mean, he did a little better in the second half, but at halftime he was what, 1 for 5 with 6 points, and they were only down by two.
Yeah, he didn't score his first bucket until I think it was like 4 minutes left in the second quarter. So
Yeah,
he did have 16 assists today, and he also had 6 turnovers. So that kind of kills, in
and
my
two
opinion,
of those turnovers were at the end of the game down the stretch.
exactly when we needed it the most. Let us know in the comment section. We got 11 people watching. Let us know how y'all felt about the Hawks and the end of this game more so than the entire game, because like me and Larry both said, this team played well for the entirety of the game. It was just those last few possessions, and that's something Lloyd Pierce needs to jump on and be like, "Yo, we can't do this."
And the bench was horrible this game. The
Horrible.
the bench was horrible. I need to talk to Lloyd Pierce. I need to know why Nathan Knight's not getting any burn. I'm tired of seeing Bruno Fernando on the court. He was minus 11 tonight. Minus
Yes.
11. That's horrible.
You know who else I'm getting tired of not seeing get enough play? Gallinari. I think it's time for us to move him to the starting role so we can get some kind of other scoring.
Yeah,
Um,
and he'll provide scoring and playmaking, especially with Dre out right now. I
exactly.
thought I thought I thought the team played good defense considering that we ain't have Dre in the offensive lineup. Well, we ain't have him in the starting lineup. And the defense played pretty good, even with Capella in foul trouble in the first half. The defense held on, but the scoring, when you see it, like when Trey's shots not falling, couldn't even get 100 points.
And that's sad to say that when you look at it, because all negatives. Well, we had Clint Capella with a +1 and John Collins with a +2, but everybody else was negative when you look at the plus minus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very bad. And then you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, Kyle Kuzma, that was just Kyle Kuzma game, -1. Horton Tucker, -3, and Montrezl Harrell, -3. So it's like, okay, those are players that are not really don't really matter when it comes to the game. Yeah, they get defensive stops, but Kyle Kuzma has bad games and LeBron just picks up his slack, or Anthony Davis picks up his slack.
Anthony Davis looked unstoppable in that third quarter. It was disheartening.
Very disheartening.
I mean, it was okay for me, kind of, because he's my favorite player, but it was just like watching him abuse like Collins, and it didn't matter who got in his way. Like he was just unstoppable in that third quarter. It was bittersweet to watch.
I feel you, but we all know Anthony Davis is probably the best. I don't know, second or third best big, depending on who you're talking to in the league.
He's the best. He's the best. He's not a center. He's not a center.
He should be.
But as far as the guys that are 6'10" or taller, the only person you could say is better is KD.
Okay, I'll give you that only for the simple fact that the other person I'm gonna talk about later hasn't been doing it on a consistent basis.
Okay.
But when I talk to you later about the person that we're gonna have a conversation about, it's gonna be different. How did you feel about that Brooklyn Nets game a few days ago?
The Nets versus the Hawks.
Hawks, yeah.
Hawks should have won that game.
Okay.
I was hyped to see them take them to overtime with the big three that they got now. It was nice to see them take them to overtime, but the Hawks should have won that game. And that just goes with, you got to take the good with the bad and let this team mature. But the fact that they even held on against a team that features Harden, KD, and Kyrie, like, all right, we know the Nets defense is bad, but their offense is amazing.
Exactly.
So the fact that they were even able to keep up with them, that it was just beautiful to see in progress. But I would have liked to see them leave with a W.
I felt the same way, but that when you look at Brooklyn's defense, that's what I was talking to people on Twitter about. Their defense is horrible, and when you come into a game where you play in a team like the Lakers, whose defense is not as bad, and you don't score 100 points, it shows like, okay. So when we play in teams like the Clippers, even when we played the Clippers a few games back, it was one of those games that, yeah, we scored over 100, but we should have blown them out.
Yeah, with no Kawhi and no Paul George, it should have been a way easier victory.
And then, and with this game, it's like, I'm glad we stayed in it, but if this was like a meaningful game to like the Lakers, we would have got blown out, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, but probably. Nah, I don't know. I think if Dre was there, it'd have been a different story. Probably would have left with a W. But teams like the Lakers, it's gonna be tough when you're giving up 54 points in the paint. And you got guys like Anthony Davis and LeBron who could get to the paint at any point in time, regardless of who you have on the court. But with that being said, I thought Cam did a pretty solid job guarding LeBron down the stretch. He forced him into some tough shots. It was a tough loss only because of the lack of effort and the silly mistakes down the stretch. Those last couple of minutes were brutal to watch, but this was a good game for the Hawks. You got to think about the most consistent player all season has been DeAndre Hunter, and he's out with a knee injury.
He's out. Exactly right about that. Talk about some other teams in the league. Looks like the Charlotte Hornets are going to wrap it up over there against the Miami Heat. Gordon Hayward, 19 points. That's it. Devontae Graham had the high with 24. And rookie of the year should be LaMelo Ball, 14 and 7.
His first career start.
LaMelo Ball is nice.
He's
Put some
legit
respect on his name. And Malik Monk said, I'm gonna ball out today too. 34 today.
Wow, the fact that they put him in the game is shocking to me.
Yeah, 34. He played almost 40 minutes too. 34
That's
out
good
there
for
balling.
him.
9 of 13 from 3.
Wow. I guess they're trying to play up his trade value.
They probably, hey, when you drop it 34, that'll go up real quick. Especially against the Miami Heat, whose defense is usually pretty good. Jimmy Butler, 25 points. Bam Adebayo, 23. Duncan Robinson, 16. Tyler Hero, the neighborhood bust, in my opinion, 11 points. And Max Struss, 19 points, brother.
You don't like Hero?
I do not, brother. Ever since I've seen that meme mug, his game has went downhill.
Oh, he pulled out the Kobe scowl too early in the career.
Yeah, like, bro, you're just a rookie. You make a play. All right, cool. Get down the court. Ever since then, what has he done for that team?
Wow,
So,
LaMelo Ball was 3 for 11, but he had 7 assists and 5 rebounds, and
yeah.
his team got the W.
And those were probably a lot of jump shots. And we know LaMelo Ball is not the best jump shooter. He shoots better than Ben Simmons. That's all you got to really do in this NBA is be able to shoot better than Ben Simmons.
You
I'm
know,
taking shots.
speaking of Ben Simmons, do you think that he's just a glorified role player at this point?
Um, yeah, pretty much. Until he gets a jump shot, you can put him on any team because everybody's gonna play him the same. He's gonna do exactly the same thing on every team. He's gonna come down the court,
He can't even post up.
which is sad because if he could post up, he'd probably be a better. He still would be a glorified role player, but it would at least he could score. You know what I mean? At this point in his career, it seems like the only way he's gonna score is fast breaks
Yeah,
because he can't shoot free throws. So you don't want to drive the lane and you can't shoot free throws because if you miss, you get fouled and you 50%. So it's not a good ratio. So yeah, now that you say that, a glorified role player would be Ben Simmons. Wow. And it's crazy because when he came into the league, I had so high hopes for Ben Simmons. Like, yo, he'll
I'm
learn how
not
to
gonna
shoot.
lie. I thought he was gonna be the next best thing at
Yeah,
one point. At one
he'll learn how to
point,
shoot. He'll learn how to shoot. He can do it. He'll learn how to shoot. But
but I was even having this debate recently about how good he really is, and I'm like, yo, like when you really sit there and watch him play, he doesn't even have like the amazing vision that everyone talks about. When you really watch the games, he's just making the right pass, the simple plays. He's not creating shots for people. He's just passing to the open guy. He's like when you see Trey do the behind the back bounce pass across the court for a Kevin Herter three. You're not getting that from Ben Simmons.
no, that's a chest
You're
pass.
not getting that from Ben Simmons. So it's like even his playmaking, like he's a good playmaker, he's a good point guard, even though he's 6'10", but even his vision isn't what you would expect for someone who can see the entire court.
Exactly. And when you say that, it's talking about players like Magic who are also 6'9", 6'10", who could do all the fancy passes or could see the court way better than Ben Simmons. Magic couldn't shoot either, but his court vision was so amazing. It didn't matter because he was gonna find an open person and he could post people up at least. He played center for a whole game and they won. So if Ben Simmons could
In
at
the
least
finals.
yes. If Ben Simmons could at least post somebody up, he would be more than a glorified role player. So from now on, thanks to Larry, he will be known as the glorified role player on this here channel, brother. My God, Larry. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
So you had a conversation earlier about the best third option on the championship team. So who did you pick as your best third option on championship team? If you in the chat, let us know who your best third option is on the championship team.
I couldn't really decide, but I got it down to the top five.
Okay.
Manu Ginobili,
Ooh.
Ray Allen.
Okay.
You got to think about the times though when I say these names, like
I'm understanding.
Ginobili, early 2000s Spurs dynasty Ginobili,
Mm-hmm.
the Celtics big three Ray Allen, and he shot 40% from three as a third option. Klay Thompson, 2018 Warriors, Klay Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
Rasheed Wallace, 2004 Pistons,
Okay.
and then Chris Bosh on the Heat.
As number one?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is
Okay. Who
not
would
this
be
is
your
not in
number?
order.
Okay. Okay.
I would say number one is a toss up between Rashid and Clay.
Okay. Okay. So
Cause they're the only two that's gonna really bring it on both ends of the court.
okay. The only reason I would take Rashid over Clay is because Rashid had to do it longer. The only reason. Clay
And we're talking about she as a third option past his
exactly.
prime, still
Exactly.
dogging.
Exactly. Klay Thompson was only the third option because KD came there. So
That's
when
why
you
he's a
have
no-brainer.
yeah. So when you have KD and you have Steph Curry and then you have Klay Thompson, a man that dropped 37 and a quarter, as a third option, it's kind of like, all right, pick your poison. Um, do you think, with that being said, when it comes to shooters, I'm gonna ask you this: is the Brooklyn Nets shooters better than Warriors? Brooklyn Nets this year, 2021, the shooters. The
Better
big
than 2018 Warriors?
yes. Even with KD.
No,
No?
no, no, no.
Then why you say that?
Because Steph is the best shooter we ever seen.
Okay, I give you that, brother. I
And like
think
right now we could talk about Kyrie hitting the clutch shots.
yeah.
And Kyrie, I'm a bigger Kyrie fan than Steph. I'd say my favorite player out of all of those players is Kyrie. But and James Harden got that step back. But Clay, 60 points, dribbling the ball like 10 times,
Yeah.
37 and a quarter. If I'm not mistaken, number one and number two on the most three-pointers in a single game
Yeah.
are Steph Curry and Klay
Klay
Thompson.
Thompson. Yeah. Klay Thompson
And
holds up.
Curry number two, number three is Kobe. Yeah, and then we had KD. Like KD's in both groups, so I gotta give the edge to the Warriors.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I would give the edge to the Warriors, but like you said, like everything you said, Kyrie is a 3-point guy that could hit the big shots. We've seen that in Cleveland. He hit the big shot, the one they say that saves LeBron's career, whatever. Don't believe it because Kyrie wasn't doing that before LeBron got there. So maybe
Listen,
LeBron said,
we're not gonna talk about a guy in his first couple years in the shittiest team ever.
I
Come on,
wouldn't say that.
They drafted Anthony Bennett number one before they drafted him. Give this guy a break. He was in Cleveland without LeBron. Like, come on,
You're
we're not gonna get into the. You could talk about Kyrie post LeBron, but you can't talk about Kyrie pre LeBron.
only reason I talk about Kyrie pre LeBron is because when it was his time for him to be the man in Boston, he ruined it. If he'd have
Yeah,
just left,
so talk about post LeBron. Talk about post LeBron. Don't talk
okay,
about pre
okay, I'll
LeBron.
give you that.
He hit a game winner his rookie year against Boston. We're not gonna talk about pre LeBron.
Okay, I'll give you that. Pre LeBron, even though he was injured, a lot.
He's injured all the time. He was injured in college and was still the number one pick. That kid is gifted.
Yeah, but sometimes his gifts and his talent gets in his head, and it's like, bruh, you're bugging.
And
But
I'd say his big shots, his ability to knock down big shots are canceled out by James Harden's inability to knock down big shots.
no way.
James Harden disappears when it matters most. He did it in the finals against the Heat. He did it in the playoffs against the Warriors. Shoot, where was he last year against the Lakers?
But we talking about the playoffs. We all know James Harden's not showing up in the playoffs.
And that shot you was just talking about Kyrie hit was in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was in the championship. But
Yeah, so it's canceled out by James Harden's unclutchness.
I don't think so. I think James Harden's. I would put with James Harden as a way better shooter than Kyrie Irving, like way better. I'm saying if you put in the scale at 10 and James Harden is a 10, I'm giving Kyrie like a 6.
Nah, I'm taking Kyrie in the shooting contest all day.
Oh no, I don't think I can take Kyrie. I don't think so, brother. Um only because I don't know which Kyrie is gonna pull up and shoot that shot. I just don't
Yeah.
know, brother. With James Harden, we kind of know like if he does a step back, it's probably going to go in.
True, but
So
he's also going to travel, and they just refuse to call it.
yeah,
All right, James Harden for his career, 36.4% from three. Kyrie Irving for his career, 39.1.
that's misconstrued. Guaranteed, because James Harden has shot way more threes than Kyrie Irving.
Well, I
Guaranteed.
mean, well, nobody told him to shoot 37,000 threes a game while he was in Houston.
That is
Kyrie,
true, bro.
Kyrie for the last 5 seasons, the least amount of threes he's averaged a game is 6.1. The lowest his 3-point percentage has been in the last 5 years is 39.4.
Okay, what about James Harden?
I'll let you know right now. James Harden, well, I mean, at one point he was shooting double-digit threes at one point. He shot 34% from three last year. Well, this year he was shooting 34% from three with Houston. This year he's shooting 37%. Last year he shot 35. The year before 36.8. The year before 36.7. Then 34.7. Kyrie got it. Kyrie got it. Game on the line. I'm giving the ball to Kyrie.
If the game is on the line in that sense, yes. But if we just talking about throughout the course of the game, I'm taking James Harden.
Now, James Harden is going to draw cheap fouls. So, of course, he
Speaking
draws a
of
lot of
cheap
cheap
fouls,
fouls.
I'm glad you brought that up. I got into another debate on Twitter about the pump fake and then the player jumping into the defending player, causing the foul. Trae Young does that a lot. How do you feel about that type of
I,
basketball?
when they jump into the player, it should be called an offensive foul.
Okay,
It
I
should
would,
be called an offensive foul. Like what he did earlier, to Taylor Horton Tucker, that's an offensive foul.
or what he did to was it Caruso when he elbowed him in the mouth and they still
That,
called
that
foul?
I feel like that's a no call.
Okay,
That's a no call because Caruso didn't foul him, and though he did elbow him in the mouth, Caruso invaded his personal space while he was shooting the ball. It's not like he did a non-basketball move to elbow him. All he did was shoot the ball and elbowed him.
so if they
So
would have
for
called
me,
that
that's a
non-call, okay.
it should have been a non-call, incidental contact. Let them play it out. They should have never called the foul on Caruso, and even though he didn't elbow him, I don't feel like he should have been called for a foul when all he did was shoot the basketball, and Caruso basically headbutted his elbow.
Yeah.
But what he did to Tucker on the elbow, that's an offensive foul. But all the flack that he catches for his little stop and goes and jump up and the player crash into him, I love it. Do it every time. Do it every time.
What? Why do you love
It's,
that style of basketball?
it's not that I love the style of basketball. I just love that Trey does it. Because Trey constantly gets his ass beat when he goes to the rim. And he rarely gets the calls. Now, he's not the fastest point guard, but he knows how to change pace, get you on his hip. Now, if you run straight into him when he stops, that's your fault. You chase it. Look, his jump shot forces the defenders to chase him around the pick. You can't go under the pick. So now that they trailing him, once he stops on the dime, you crash into him. He jumps straight up. So once in a while you catch him like jump backwards. But for the most part, he jumps straight up and takes the shot.
Yeah.
So it's a good basketball play, and that's the only way he can get the refs to see that he's getting fouled. Because when he gets legit fouls, they just force them to play it out. The refs don't call that many fouls for the Hawks. They get to the free throw line so much because Trey is crafty.
Yeah. With that being said, like I just don't the style of it. I don't like seeing players go to the free throw line. I didn't like it when Dwayne Wade did it. I didn't like it when James Harden did it. I'm just not gonna like it when Trae Young do it. So I'm fair around the board with it. It
I
has nothing
respect it.
has nothing to do with any of their games. I just don't like that part of their game, especially Dwayne Wade used to do it all the time. I used to, boy, yo,
And he learned that from Paul Pierce.
it's
Paul
a
Pierce
no.
was the master of the pump fake and jump into the defender.
You know. So,
And
go ahead.
I could have sworn they changed the rules a few years ago that that it's supposed to be an offensive foul if they do that. They have to jump straight up, but somehow they get away with it.
The way these rules changed, it was crazy. If I don't know if you seen the play yesterday, Durant elbowed pretty much elbowed the guy, and Durant, the defender got called for the foul. Like, what in the world?
Nah, I didn't see that.
It was. I was like, what in the world, dude? All right, before we get out of here, I've started to ask everybody that comes on the show this question, man. Mine has changed since the last time I asked somebody. Been doing some more homework. Who's your MVP
My MVP of the season,
so far? Who's your MVP, homie?
Joel Embiid.
Ooh, Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid. He's having a monster season, and his team is in first place of the conference, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that
Joel Embiid is really like. I feel like he should have been in the MVP conversation a couple years ago, and he wasn't. But this year, like as of right now, it has to be Embiid, Jokic, and LeBron. Those should be the only three talked about for the MVP conversation right now. And
not
the
Kevin
Nuggets
Durant.
are nah, nah. Kevin Durant. I can't sit here and talk about Kevin Durant in the MVP conversation when they got James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Before the Harden trade, I could have spoke about, but nah, it's too much help, and their defense is so ass.
What
Like I
about
can't even.
what,
The way their defense is playing, I can't see them winning the championship.
that is true, but what about when LeBron had D Wade and Chris Bosh?
I never held Chris Bosh in high esteem. And
Wow.
and remember this. All right, first off, I also held the same position that LeBron should have automatically been eliminated from MVP conversation with that supporting cast.
Okay.
But it's not the same. Bosh is not the same tier talent as Kyrie and James Harden. And you can argue that Dwayne Wade wasn't the Dwayne Wade that he was before they got there.
That is true. But he did.
Especially after his first year. The first year with everybody there, he put up great numbers. The second year, you started to see a decline. So while I did feel like LeBron didn't deserve to be in the MVP conversation because of the help he had, the way the NBA landscape is right now, when you look at the Sixers 15-6 and Ben Simmons playing like he playing worse than he did his rookie year, like how could you even consider a guy like KD when he has James Harden and Kyrie Irving? When LeBron, all he really has is AD. Jokic, you can argue that his best supporting castmate is in his second year in the NBA.
Yeah, because Murray ain't been doing nothing this year.
Exactly. So like even Luca, like you could talk about Luca in the MVP conversation before KD. And the Mavericks are playing bad.
Yeah, that is true. Shout out to Tyrone Monday, man. Joseph got me thinking. Before I give, thank you for watching the show, Tyrone. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Before I give my prediction on the who I think my MVP should be, this podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Make sure y'all go get 20% off using the code FILASP 2021 at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you, people. Go get you some Manscaped, people, man. Male grooming is what it is in 2021. So make sure you all clear. Last week I did have KD on my MVP. I didn't take him off because of his supporting cast. I took him off because somebody else is balling out there that I don't think is getting enough love from a lot of people. But KD is coming off that torn Achilles, and he's averaging 30. So that's why he was on my MVP race. This is like AP coming off his torn ACL. If you a football fan out there, it just doesn't get better than the numbers he's putting up.
I agree, and he looks like he didn't even have surgery.
Exactly. Joel Embiid was somebody that was on my list, but no disrespect to Joel Embiid, but he's not playing better than Jokic. Jokic is balling. He just dropped 47 on two-time defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert.
And what is the Nuggets record?
The Nuggets are 4th in the West.
They're 12-8.
Yep, and they're 4th in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, this is a team that started, I think they were like 2-6 at one point, but it was something ugly. I can't remember exactly. But
yeah, they did start out pretty bad.
Yeah, out of their last 10, they're 7-3. So the only teams that are above them are the Lakers and the Clippers that are relevant because, like I said, he just dropped 47 on Rudy Gobert's head, and the Jazz are 2nd. So when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, I'll throw the Jazz in there for the argument, and the Clippers. Don't you think they could at least take to a game 7 if Jamal Murray and Jokic is playing like he's playing? All they need is a little bit of help from Jamal Murray. That's all you need.
They could take the Lakers to game 7 if Michael Porter Jr. is playing defense.
Yeah, but the way that market is set up out there in Denver, he's not getting a lot of love. But on this channel, he's gonna get love, and until his numbers drop, and they're gonna have to drop significantly, he's averaging 26.
He's averaging almost a triple-double.
26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Like I told you,
I couldn't be mad if he won MVP. If the season ended today and he won MVP, I wouldn't be mad. But I also wouldn't be mad if Joel Embiid or LeBron won it.
I can agree.
I mean, I probably would be mad if LeBron won it because I want AD to get it, but
AD won't get it because LeBron's on his team. That is the only reason AD won't get it.
Yeah, he's automatically eliminated from the conversation because LeBron is his teammate. I get that. But
Jokic last night had 22 in the first, people. 33 at half. And he was getting by Rudy Gobert, 2-time defensive player of the year. So it's not like he's
getting great to see him be aggressive like this. It's been great to see him aggressive like this because normally, like, he's always been capable of this. He's just never been aggressive on offense and looking for his own shot on a consistent night-to-night basis. Like, last year, you would have saw him put up 25, 30, 2 games in a row, and then the next game get you 4 points and only take, like, 3 shots the whole game. He's dogging this year. Shout out to Jokic, but I still want Embiid to get MVP. Embiid needs to be MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
Yeah. I was asleep earlier. I'm awoke now, people. I was sleeping on DeAndre Hunter. He woke me up this year. I was sleeping on Jokic early. I told somebody Jokic was a bum earlier before the season started. I apologize, Jokic. You get all my respect, and you get all this MVP love from the king over here. Any plugs, Larry?
Nah, just catch me on Twitter, LarryH718.
We're going to catch Larry on Twitter, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode. On Wednesday, Kings Round will be back. Y'all keep a lookout. We got some new things coming for the FILA brand. It's going to be special. Ace is back. He's going to take us out, and we're going to see y'all on Wednesday. Ace! Peace.